Craig,
Come
screw
on.
you.
Oh, Craig.
Oh,
Craig
Craig.
always trying to betray us.
Craig.
Anyways, hello everybody. Welcome back to Far Side Podcast. And if you're
Welcome.
new, welcome as well. But yeah, just a disclaimer. This episode's gonna be a little bit different. We
Ooh.
tried a different recording system and
Yes, sir.
format. So just expect any surprises along the way as you listen to this episode.
So, hello everybody. Welcome to the Farside Podcast. I know most of you guys here already know what Farside Podcast is all about, but for the new people, of course, we need to explain what is us all about, or like this is all about. So, Farside Podcast is all about learning, growing, sharing our thoughts and experiences, stories set apart from the rest of the world, all while having fun. But for this episode, it won't be from us, it will be from somebody else. Diba we mentioned stories from, like, basta, it's stories. So we want to introduce Trey Remulla later on the episode,
Yeah.
but right now, he's our guest, as you can see in her title.
Before we get into the topic, we'll like to know how our guest is doing. So stay tuned and we'll see you guys in the episode.
So hi, Kuya Trey.
Hi.
Thank you
What's
for
up? How are you guys?
coming in the podcast or hopping
For
on
sure.
the podcast.
I
And
love
we're
starting podcasts. This is so much fun.
Right.
So yeah, Kuya Trey, can you please introduce to the people who do not know you yet?
All right. Hi, I'm Trey Remulla, podcaster, businessman. I graduated Pulsi in DLSU.
Ooh.
So that's something that people don't really know about me like
Oh, really?
right away. But I
Right.
did graduate Pulsi in DLSU. Wanted to be a lawyer, wanted to do like kind of
Ooh.
the diplomat thing. And here I am today, not doing that. So so yeah, run a few businesses, do the podcasting thing, and I run Sand Studios. Sand Studios is the studio that does make my podcast as well.
Mm.
And right now we're actually building up more podcasts along the way, not just mine.
Wow. So is your, like, helping other podcasters? Is that your official work?
It's not what puts money in my bank account,
Okay.
but it does help out with the overall studio and the overall community. So it's something that I do enjoy doing. Also because like we partner up with a what do you call this? We partnered up with a store that actually sells like podcasting equipment, streaming
Oh,
equipment. So like the more that of course we do well, they do well, and along the way, it helps out.
Sick.
nice.
I
Did
didn't
not
know. I
know
did not
that.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not something that I say publicly, but
Oh.
that's the gist.
Amazing. So we met Kuya Trey. I mean, I met Kuya Trey
Mhm.
through listening through his podcast. It's Bente. It's on Spotify still.
Yep.
And what happened to Bente, Kuya Trey? I wonder.
Ooh. Um. So when the pandemic hit last year, it was really difficult for us to keep going the same way we
Mm.
did before because we started a podcast that we would meet in person, that we'd go to the guests. You know what I mean? Like we had that
Mhm.
whole setup. So when we tried to do the whole online thing, like it kind of didn't work out as well for us. That's the
Mhm.
thing. And along the way, like I still had the itch to like really make more episodes. But then of course like we got busy, Don got busy. So that's why I started my own thing, which is the White Stripe podcast, which I have now and it's still running. But then it's not like Bentes gone forever. It's just that we're not
No.
producing right now.
Okay.
I
No,
see.
We
we're,
don't want that.
we'll, we'll be back somehow. But then
Yes.
for now it's just not active.
So through your podcasting, say, career or passion, do
Yeah.
you think that's what you're most known for, or if there's any other stuff?
I think now I am. Like
Mm.
Yeah.
now it's kind of like, oh, he's the podcast person. And I wanted that. I wanted to become that. And I'm not gonna deny it. It's something that I sought out for. I was like, I want to be one of the names that people call out when you think about podcasts. And so far, that's what people have known me so far with. And yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it's something that I really wanted to do. It's something that I wanted to accomplish. And other than that, it's this white stripe. Like my hair having a white stripe.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm kind of most known for. Like, oh, it's
Yeah.
Trey, the guy
Mm.
with white hair. And I'm like, yeah, that's me.
So what's the story behind your white hair?
Oh, okay. So I have vitiligo. Um, so vitiligo is like it's a skin disease that it's an autoimmune disease that it basically like it's weird. It can't deny the pigment on this specific spot of my
Mm.
head. So it thinks that the pigments on that specific spot are like alien particles or like something like that. Like it's not off my
Mm.
body. So my body kills it, like
Oh.
the
Oh,
pigmentation of that specific area. And on that specific area grows white hair.
Mm.
that's interesting.
So it's interesting because the time that I the time that I got it first, so it started
Mhm.
out with like one strand,
Mhm.
and like the doctor told me that what kind of triggers it is high stress. So I'm kind of just like what have I been stressing about, right? So I
Yeah.
thought about it again. That week I had two competitions in school. I was still in high
Uh.
school.
Mm.
So this is something that we can talk about again later, but like I was still in high school at that time. I was 14, I believe. I had one piece of white hair. And
Yeah.
because like my dad has kind of like the salt and pepper hair. So I was kind of just
Oh
Okay.
like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah,
I'll be like him because he got it early in life. So I was like, no, why do I have like one piece of white hair? And it was a long strand, by the way. And then it just started to grow a bit. And then I realized, because okay, that week I had a battle of the bands on like the Tuesday,
Yeah.
yeah. Mhm.
and then I had finals the next week.
Oh no.
And
Oh
I also
no.
okay, so I was part of the school pageant,
Oh.
which is on that Friday. So this is like the finalist round of that. And I did that for like just the laughs, but I got stressed about it because they made us do so much, like so many things. So I was like, so that all like piled up, and I think it might have triggered it. I'm not quite sure,
Mm.
Hmm.
but that did trigger the start of the white hair. That's why I have white hair.
For the longest time, I was like, why White Stripe podcast? But is that intentional or is it something personal?
It's natural to
It's
me.
natural. Yeah.
Mm.
I never have to do anything to it. It just grows out this way. So I was in college. My friend was like, so I had this friend, and then she would always make fun of me, like in a fun way, right?
Mm.
Like whenever I come in, she'll be like, "Oh, Mister White Stripe is here," and then like I'd have a laugh about it. Like that was the first time I heard it, but that name stuck in my head. I was like, "Why
Mm.
do I
Mm.
like it? Why do I like that name?" And then I just kept using it until today. Oh, you know what? Okay, I'll just say this right now, like
Yeah,
off the
go.
bat. I actually believed the April Fool's joke.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Oh.
I was
I'll
gonna
be honest
mention.
with you.
Oh my
I'll be like
gosh. I was gonna mention that.
I believed that when I don't know why, because like okay, because the thing was like Brian messaged me about it coming
Mm.
on, right, and then I
Yeah.
never heard about
Yeah.
it again. So for me, I was just like, did they like? I want to know what happened to them. So I went
Mm.
to Brian's Instagram first, and then he was like, I was like, okay, there's no signs of like hazel on here, so I don't know what's
Mm.
happening. So I was like, oh,
Oh
far
yeah,
side.
yeah.
So I went to your website, to your Instagram, right? So I went to your Instagram, and I was just like, what? They split up. I didn't even get to talk to them. That's all. Because like all the posts were gone, and I was just like, oh.
Mm.
And then you were saying stuff like, oh, we're still gonna release an episode, which sounds fair. Like it sounds like it could happen, you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And then at the end, I was like, why did I believe this? That's the thing. I didn't believe the other posts that I saw. For some reason, that one like hit me because I was waiting for Brian's message for like a month,
Yeah.
and I didn't get it. So I was like, oh, they ended things. That's pretty sad.
Oh yeah. That was mine. There was a lot of people that.
It was a good touch to also like archive all your previous posts.
Oh, that was my idea.
Yeah,
That's when people like lost it.
that was a good touch. I like that.
So that's just that for that part. We just talked about Kuya Trey and how we knew him and what he's all about. We also talked about our day, our week, and April Fools. But for the topic, we just brought in Kuya Trey and talked about how he was back then as a teenager. Of course, we wanted to get stories and advices. So we'll see you guys in the icebreaker. Bye. So, like, what do you miss about being a teenager? So, if there's any, what is that one thing you miss about it?
I miss my high school friends.
Oh, no.
Mm.
I don't get to see them often anymore.
Mm.
One big reason is because I went to an international school. So most of my friends are not even in the country anymore, like in high school. So some of them have gone to the States, Australia, Japan, Korea, even like Dubai. I really miss them because like it's hard, and like even my friends who stayed here in the Philippines, they went to different colleges. They went to UP, they went to Ateneo, so like they were like northern from where I was because
Mm.
I
Yeah.
Yeah.
I live in the south and I went to Manila for college, so I didn't get to see them often, and
Mm-hmm.
I do kind of miss that friendship that I had with them because I didn't get because you know what I mean. Like we had so much fun in high school. I have so many fond memories with them, but I don't get to see them as much as I used to. I know some like groups of friends still get to see like each other after college, but that's just not something that I was able to do. You know, I missed my school being so near to me. When I went to like DLSU, it was
Yeah.
like that took away 3 to 4
Oh.
hours of my day just to get there and to go
Yeah.
home. You know, because like if you
Mm.
add it up, it takes like an hour and a half to get there and come back.
Mm.
Sometimes 2 hours to get there. So like I did miss having a school nearby. Oh, you know, there's something that I wanted to tell you guys that I'm not quite
Yeah.
sure if you know about me. I was homeschooled.
Oh,
Hey!
fellow homeschooler.
I was
We're
homeschooled
homeschooled.
I was homeschooled until second year of high school.
Oh.
Third,
Oh,
fourth
okay.
year, I went to like a regular school, like traditional school, like for third and fourth year. But from
Mm.
like the start of school to the second year of high school, I was homeschooled.
That's
Wow.
sick.
Grave. That's why we all gravitated.
It's the
Yeah.
homeschool vibe. That's what it
Right.
is.
That's
Yeah,
so
That's
it's
what
the
it
homeschool
is.
true.
vibe.
Maybe, yeah. In this upcoming part, Kuya Trey shares an eventful moment in high school that straight up sounds like a scene from a comedy sitcom. So be all ears on this one because it was quite enjoyable to listen in.
What was your best story or highlight when you were a teenager?
That's like 10 years of my life. You're making me choose. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Exactly.
Wait. So when I was in third year high school, I remember I was just walking around the school, as you will, like just minding my own business, right? And then one of the history teachers comes up to me, and she wasn't even my history teacher. So she comes up to me, and then she was like, "Trey, I have a letter for you." And I was just like, Okay, sure." Like, so I got the letter, and then she was like, "Yeah, just read through it, ask your parents, and let me know by next week." So I was like, "What is this?" Okay, sure. So when I opened it, it was an invitation to join. It was called the Harvard Model Congress Asia.
Whoa.
So this was in Hong Kong. So my parents were just like, "Are you sure you want to go?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then of course it's pretty cool because it had like I was just gonna say Marvel, the Harvard seal on it. So of course like it's
Wow.
pretty cool. So
Mm.
my dad was kind of just like, "Okay, you can go." And then I remember when we flew out to Hong Kong because like, that was my first time going out without my parents. So I was like, "This is so cool!" Like you know what I mean?
Oh,
Like
wow.
I called myself independent, even though like really I wasn't, but I'm independent. Like I'm going out without my parents.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, imagine like being 14 and being able to do something like that. It was like a huge blessing for me to experience. And then when I
Dang.
got there, we were in um we were in Hong Kong University, HKU, which is like I'm not sure how about about now, but at the time it was the number one university in Asia.
Mm.
So when imagine getting there, being able to see the whole campus, being able to see how they do things, It was so nice. It was like I imagine like the best building of DLSU, make it like 2 times nicer and multiply that by the whole campus. That's what it felt like.
Go.
This is one of my favorite memories. So of course, like we have a roommate, right? While we're there.
Mm.
So we're a team of I believe like 10 representatives, all from my school. So my roommate was just like, oh, like, oh, I'm kind of hungry. And then the other room, like right beside us, who they were also guys and they were upper batch because I was third year, they were fourth year. So the fourth year guys were like, do you guys want to go down to 7-Eleven and buy some food? Which was not allowed. We were not allowed to leave the hotel basically without a
Mm.
teacher. But I was like, yeah, I'm hungry. You know what I mean? Like I'm not getting alcohol. I'm not getting alcohol or doing anything. I'm getting water
Yeah.
and like ramen maybe. You know what I mean? Like I'm getting food for me.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like my personal belief was like, I'm not really doing anything wrong. All right, let's go. So we went inside the elevator. We went down, and then it stopped at the level where all the other representatives were.
Yeah.
So it opened, and we saw our friend running across the hallway into the elevator.
Oh no.
And we were like, why are you running? And then she goes, close it, close it, close it, close it, close
Something's
it.
up.
And we're like, wait, why? You know what I mean? Like, why do we have to close it?
Mm.
And then the moment that it went like ding, so it started to close, the head teacher of
Oh
our
no.
school ran in front of the escalator
Oh
was screaming
shoot.
at us like, "Where are you going? Where are you guys going?" And it's only at, "Where are you guys going? Where are you going?" And it just closed, and then ding, and it just closed on her. So
Oh
the whole
no.
time,
Oh
the,
my
the
god.
whole time, like, imagine going down from like level 16 to the ground floor. We were just like,
Oh no.
uh,
Let's go
"Do we
back.
go back up? Wait, can we still buy 7-Eleven? Like, is that okay?" And they were like, "No, no, no, we have to go back up. We have to go back up." Like, all right, fine, fine.
Wow. That makes me miss going out.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
miss going out so much.
Especially my friends. I only
Yeah.
get to
Those
talk to my
times.
friends and like have fun with them physically. But whenever it's online, it's kind of hard.
That's so
Yeah,
true.
I know what you mean.
As we delve in, going back to Trey's past, we get to know who he admires and respects as he grew up.
Do you have someone whom you look up to, whether, back when you're a teenager or now?
I've always looked up to my dad in a different way that I haven't looked up to other people. Um,
Mm.
Mm,
like there have been a lot of people that I've looked up to, like that I've admired. But the way that I like the relationship that I have with my dad is completely different. You know what I mean? Like to me, I'm kind of just like I don't deserve this love that you're giving me. It's just
Mm.
something that I've experienced my whole life, but I don't know why. You know,
right.
like so many things were said that I've said, and then there's so many things that were forgiven. And to me, and then like I've seen him like also improve himself along the years. He wasn't stubborn about it. He was like I saw him lose because like he used to be very overweight. So that
Mm.
was one thing, and then I watched him like lose 70 pounds,
Wow.
Wow.
and like to me that was just like wow. So and that's just one of the things I've seen him all struggle with business because we have businesses.
Mm.
I've seen failed business after failed business after failed business. To me that's how I grew up. I grew up not really knowing which business my dad was doing that year because it kept changing.
Mm.
And then so I just kept seeing him um, learn and fail and but then keep going and keep providing for us. I never went hungry, even though I didn't know that my dad was losing so much money at the time. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I never
Mm.
knew that. He never gave me that idea that like, oh, we don't have much money. I never felt that. To me, it was just like I get to live in this house and I get to eat and I get to do all that stuff. I'm in homeschool. You know what I mean? I was like, it didn't affect me at
Mm.
all.
Yeah.
And then So to me, the way that I saw him really keep going is just something that I've really looked up to my whole life. Even when I was like a kid, and I didn't know about the whole struggles. Like to me, he was just like, oh, he's a businessman, and
Mm.
we do this, right? But then I kept seeing failure and learning, and try again and all that stuff, and that kind of rubbed off on me. I don't think I'd ever be the man who I am today without him. So if you're asking me like in general, definitely him.
That's
My,
Mm.
sweet.
my life is like my life is like he's not a person, sure, but to me, I'm just like I want to be like that. It's just and I know that's rare to have,
Yeah.
so that's why I'm very very grateful for it.
Wow, that really hits home because I
Yeah,
really look up to my dad
me too.
as
Yeah,
well. And I know that you also grew up in a Christian household.
yeah,
So I can also relate with that. And just seeing that, wow, such a great provider. Like,
right,
he's really the man of the family, the breadwinner.
yeah, yeah,
So, grab it. So, it's like so reassuring. And I don't think I mean, there's lots of people who, you know, are probably feeling the same way, or, some people who don't. And
right,
yeah, it shows how privileged we are. And,
Hashtag blessed.
we are so privileged. Yeah. And
yeah,
you're privileged when you don't know you're privileged.
yeah, yeah.
So, yeah,
and
that's
and it
really,
was growing up that I felt it more. It
That's
mm,
was when I
true.
had my
That's
own
true.
business that I felt
yeah.
like, oh my gosh, this is hard, like,
Yeah.
and it was growing up and having these different friendships, these different relationships in my life. To
Mm,
think, what I mean? Like I had to go through all of that, and then I realized that he went through it worse than I did actually growing up,
mm,
because like he didn't like he had his mom and his dad, but like they didn't live together as a family. You know what I mean? Like
mm,
for very long. So it was like there were so many complications in his life that I don't even have.
yeah.
You know. So to me, it's just like I'm so glad. And like okay, he had me really young. He had me at
Mm,
19. So
Wow.
imagine, and I'm 22. I'm just like, I can't imagine caring for a child right now. And by the time he was 22, he had two. So I'm just like, how did you do that? But then it's really God's grace for sure, and
For
just
sure.
wow.
and just seeing how he's been humbled so many times, but kept going.
Because I see that also in my dad, and I just
Right.
realized now where does it come from? And of course, if you
Yeah.
don't have that relationship with God, it would be hard. In this segment, we get to find out more about Kuya Trey and who he was as a teen and how much has he changed now. Let's see what Kuya Trey has to say. And that's not even a poem about himself.
So I think this goes right to our next question,
Go ahead.
which is really, yeah, it matches. So, what is something that you value or cherish back then? And do you still cherish it now?
I think okay, this is something that I had to deal with myself because when I was younger,
Mm.
I tell you, I wanted people's approval so much.
Mm.
Like just as
Yeah.
a younger person, you know what I mean? Like I just really, really wanted people to like me. In my
Yeah.
head, I was just like, if they like me, then they'll respect me, and if they'll respect me, they'll listen to me. Like that's just kind of my thing. And I don't necessarily think that that's a wrong thing to think, but
Yeah.
it reached the point for me where I started to perform for people.
Mm,
It was
Mm.
like if they were doing something detrimental to their health, I wouldn't stop them because I was like, nah, man, you do you. Like
yeah.
I'm here to
Mm-hmm.
like support and help you out. If you make bad choices, that's on you, fine. But then to me, I I felt like I didn't do much sometimes. You know what I mean? I didn't fight back
Yeah.
because I was just like, oh, like no, like this. I want this person to respect me. So to make it in my head, I was like, to make them respect me, they have to like me, and if they like, what I mean,
Mm.
for them to like me, I can't fight back. I can't argue. I can't do that stuff. Um, but then right now it was a realization for me that I value honesty now more than before.
Mm.
I value upfront honesty. I don't like things sugar coated. I don't
Yeah.
like it. I don't even like it when I feel like the waffle method,
No.
I
or
haven't.
like
No.
it's like a sandwich. It's like good and then like
Oh,
critique and
yeah.
then good
Mm.
feedback, something like that. I don't even like it when people do that because to me I'm just like, tell me,
Mm.
tell me what you think. Tell me what you know. And I couldn't do that before because before I'd be so scared of what people thought about me.
Mm.
Um, and even like starting the podcast alone was a big jump for me because like it's my own thing. If it fails, it's on me.
Yeah.
If I'm not good at it, it's on me. I have no one else to blame but me. You know. Um, but then yeah, that was a big difference in my like. I learned that along like the last few years,
Right.
and definitely being in high school, I was just like, I really wanted people to like me.
I think you've answered our second question, which was
Yeah.
like, you have any regrets or something you could have done or
Yeah.
changed? So yeah.
Yeah, that's it. So basically, like
Mm.
I was a big performer for people, and I wish that I wasn't because there were so many
Yeah.
things that I could have said, not just said, right, but like there's so many like things I could have written,
Yeah.
released, like because I love writing
Ooh.
um different kinds of things. So maybe if I wasn't so scared, I would have actually posted some of them, and I wish that I kept them.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot to take in because actually, like, seeing I've had some friends that are like that, and I guess it's hard to really
Yeah,
see what it was from their perspective. So it really helped a lot from seeing how you were that person back then.
yeah,
So yeah, I mean, people change, which is good.
yeah, for sure. Like
Yeah.
people do change.
What were your challenges throughout your teen years, and like, were you able to face them, comparing then to now?
Yeah, during my teen years, again, I was a big people pleaser. So
Mm.
All of us were.
I wish I wasn't. You know what I mean? Like I wish I was more.
Yeah.
Um, I wish I could challenge people more. You know what I mean? It doesn't even have to be like in a
Mm.
bad way, but like I want to challenge thoughts, challenge ideas. Why does it have to be that way?
Mm.
And that's for me. That was something that I developed in college, which because I took pol sci of all the courses to take. You know what I mean?
Pause
Like to
that.
learn about politics.
Oh
To me, I
my.
was like reading about all of that. It made me wonder, like, why does it have to be this way? Why is the world like this?
Mm.
And to me, of course, because of being a people pleaser, if you're an authority of me, or like what I mean, if you're in a position that's like quote unquote above me, I'm
Mm.
like, yeah, you're right. There's nothing I can do about it. But it was only later on where I was just like, they're not always right. They're not.
Mm.
And not that I will be disrespectful, right? Not that I'm gonna break the law. I'm not. But it's just to me, I was wondering why I didn't question a bit more. Just a bit.
Mm.
Like not a
Mm.
whole lot, just a bit. And then when I kind of accepted that part of myself that asked questions, I found myself even more drawn to why things were done a certain way. So, for example, like the church, right? So there was a phase in my life where I was kind of just like, why are we doing it this way? Or like even my
Mm.
relationship with God, God, why are you this way? And then it was through the questioning and of course having guidance and having people around me. And I didn't get the answer right away a lot. Sometimes it took a few years, a few months, but then it was there. Like the questions led me to even a deeper belief than I had prior,
Mm.
and
Mm.
I didn't have that before. I
Yeah.
wish I did, but then to me that was like a big thing, and I kind of learned that, like to not take things just as they are, but to kind of just think about challenging it. It doesn't have to be like a fight, it doesn't have to be a war, but like just challenge the thought. Why?
College provides a higher education on what career path you want to take. Here, Kuya Trey tells us a different story, chasing to find what he's passionate about and following what he truly wants to be. Does his college life reflect the things he's doing now? Yeah, so moving on, what was your dream when you were a teenager? Because I know,
Ooh.
yeah, you took
Yeah.
pole sci.
Yeah.
So was that like your
Yeah.
dream? Was that something you actually wanted to take?
Yeah. So um I took pol sci for college. At first, like, okay, so growing up, I wanted to be a businessman because I was like, oh,
Mm.
dad's a businessman. I want to do that. That seems pretty cool. Um, and then during college, because I went to these different conferences, Harvard Model
Mm-hmm.
Conference Asia, Model United Nations, all that stuff. Because of that, I wanted to become a diplomat. So I was just like, oh, I like doing what I'm doing here. Maybe I can be good at this. I like speaking. I like talking to people. I like being like a middleman like of a conversation. I like that. I like representing
Mm-hmm.
something big. That seemed fun to me. Um and then the idea of pol sci came in later on.
Mm.
Because I was like, what do you do to get to be a diplomat? So CSB had a program, but I didn't want to go to
Mm.
CSB. um, just like, okay, I'll just be honest. Like,
Oh
I didn't want to go to
no.
CSB. Um, and then so I applied for LaSalle entrepreneurship. So I applied for business, and then I got in. Like, I got accepted into business. And my course at the time it was kind of like a hard course to get in relatively to
Mm.
pol sci. So I wanted to become a lawyer for a while. So I wanted to go into law school, probably like second year of college. That's when like my peak interest. And then third year, I was kind of like I wasn't sure anymore. I wasn't sure if I wanted to go to law school. So I went to an internship in a no, sorry, in a regional trial court in Pasig. So I worked for a trial court. I was just there listening to the hearings, watching how things were done. And while I enjoyed my time there, I realized that it's not something that I wanted to do for the rest of my life. So I went back to business after. So in the end, my dad was right. But I'm glad I had the experience of pol sci
Right.
also.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna ask a question that's
Good,
not here on
good.
the doc, but teens these days are struggling with their path going to college,
Mm,
especially people my age.
right,
Um, cause I think we all have that mindset that, oh, whatever course you're gonna go to, it's gonna be the job you'll have forever type
right, yeah.
mindset.
Right. Yeah.
So I just like what were your like thought
Yeah.
process, or
Yeah.
what should be your take when picking a course if you're gonna go to
Ooh.
college?
All right. Okay, I'll just get this right off the bat. Honor your parents. Um, like don't be rude, don't all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like that
Yeah.
should be a given. But at the same time, don't limit yourself to just what they want, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Of course we're all in different boats. We all have different family dynamics and all that stuff. Uh but if you really want to try it, just try convincing, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
cuz I took pol sci, look where I am today. I'm not doing anything about like, you know what I mean? Like
Mm.
Yeah.
if my dad was mean, he could say like, "How much money did I waste for that degree?" But okay, to me, I don't think it's
Oh
a
my
waste to
gosh.
me because
Yeah,
it
yeah,
changed
yeah.
how I view the world and how
Right.
I analyze things. So I don't consider it a waste. But like, if someone like him who paid for the whole thing, I can understand why. He doesn't say
Yeah.
that, by the way. I'm just saying he
Yeah.
could if he
Yeah.
wanted to.
Mm.
Um, but then, yeah, you're really not going to know exactly what you want all the time. That's the thing. It's
That's the
reality.
thing.
Even for
Yeah.
me, I graduated college. I thought I wanted one thing, and then look where I am today. I didn't think I'd have like a podcast network of equipment and of shows and help out producing other shows. I didn't think I'd be doing that now. To me, I was just like, I'm gonna make money. I didn't know how, but then to me, I was like, I'm gonna make money. And um, honestly, okay, so like there are a few professions that, of course, you need your degree, right?
Yeah.
Medicine, engineering, pilots, all that stuff. Get a degree. go. I'm not gonna ride an airplane if you don't have a degree in flying airplanes.
yeah,
But
Yeah.
yeah.
at the same time, your skill set isn't necessarily determined by the college training that you had.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't learn how to speak in college. I didn't learn how to edit in college. I didn't learn how to Photoshop in college or to manage a band because of college. You know, it was during
Yeah.
college that I refined those skills, sure. But I didn't learn that from my professors.
Yeah.
It You guys are not podcasting. They didn't teach you in school. This is how you
That's
make a
true.
podcast.
That's
You know, you
Yeah.
true.
learned how to do it. And that's just something that we all have to kind of do if we really want to try something, you know? Okay, because yeah, on the podcast I do everything, right?
Yeah, yeah.
From
Mm.
like
We relate.
talking, editing, posting, all that stuff. And also in the business I do the same thing. So it's because of those different experiences, because that's why I can do this. You know, that's why I have the capability to do it because of all those past experiences. And yeah, just keep learning because you never know what's gonna come in handy in the future.
So, for continuing from that last question, are you grateful for what you have now?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
Let's go.
Especially now that you know what I mean, like we're in a season, we're in a year where people are losing a lot of things. Like, you know,
Yeah.
that's just the reality of the situation. It's a pandemic, limited work, limited opportunities to take, you know, it's not the same as it was a few years ago where you felt like, oh, you know, like there's opportunities not everywhere you go, but like you can find some. Now it's very scarce. You don't really know where to find it or if you're gonna find it. So to
Right.
me, being able to even just live under this roof where I don't have to pay rent, to me it's just wow, you know. Because like in my business, I learned that paying rent, you know, electricity, all that stuff.
Mhm.
I had to learn that, and I remember because I had to pay on the 8th of every month. At the 8th of the month, I'll be like, oh my gosh, the money I earned, it's
Yeah.
just going there. You know what I mean? Like I have to pay my
Yeah.
rent, I have to pay my bills. So for me to still be able to live here without having to pay for anything in this house, and you know, I'm very grateful. I can't complain about that. There's so many things in my life where, like even like friendships, relationships. To me, I'm just
Mhm.
like, yeah, I have my friends, and not everyone can say that, you know.
Yeah.
And if you guys have friends, you know, hold on to that because you never really know what's gonna happen. So I'm very grateful, very very grateful.
Is adulting hard?
Oh my gosh.
Is it?
Okay, personally,
Yeah.
I like being an adult more than I liked being younger.
Mm.
Mm. Okay.
Not everyone will agree with me on this. A lot of people
I think
say
I
like,
kind of
"Oh, I wish I
agree
was."
with you, even though I'm not an adult.
Some people were like, "Oh my gosh, I miss being a teenager," or "I miss being a kid." I never
Yeah.
felt that way. I've always
Mm.
like wanted to be older, actually, because to me,
Mm.
'cause I like to be autonomous. I like to make my own decisions. I like, you know, not
Mm.
having other people make decisions for me. So growing up and having more opportunities to make decisions kind of really helped me in that way.
Yeah.
It's harder, sure, but it's also more fulfilling when you get to certain milestones, you know. It's different. It's a different experience, at least for me, because I like the challenge of business. I like the challenge of creating content. So whenever I have okay, so if you go to Bente episode, I think 4, it's just Don and I talking about our exes. And that,
Mhm.
Yeah.
imagine like 1,000 people listening to Don and I talk about our exes. Like that's really fun. To me, I'm just like, this is fun. I would not do that if I was a teenager. What teenager would do that? But
Yeah, that's
to
true.
Don and I, we were just like, all right, let's do it. Like it's Valentine's Day and we need content. So we made that. And it's our best rated episode. So, you know, you never really know.
It's amazing to hear. So, what is something you held on to as you were growing up?
Um,
Could be anything as
so
well.
for me, yeah. For me, it would just be honestly like that faith that God's plan is always better.
Yeah.
Um, I've had a lot of friends that lost their way. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
so many people from even friends or just in the community where you go to college and suddenly their whole mindset changes and suddenly
Yeah.
like
Mm-hmm.
they feel like a different person, or maybe that was just who they really were, but they were just faking it. I don't know, like it
Mm.
could be anything.
Yeah.
But in my head, because okay, when you go to TAF, just being honest here, like if you go to TAF, you can get anything you want if you look hard enough. Anything.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Like any substance, any pleasure, any kind of relationship. If you look hard enough and if you're persistent, you will find it, you know? And
Yeah.
sometimes you don't even have to look for it. It just pops up in front of you. Here, have this. And so when people go astray or like lose their faith, I don't necessarily blame them because it's really, really hard. Even I had a hard time.
Yeah. That's
But
true.
Yeah.
and I consider myself like someone who's like really grounded in the faith. I'm a leader, I'm all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But like to me, that was hard. That was a hard time. So having someone who's not that deeply rooted put in that situation, I understand. I understand completely. Imagine having a tough life and then suddenly in front of you is like, here, forget about that life for like a few hours. Um, but at the same time, for me, I've always thought that if I go down that road, I don't know how I'd get out. You know, it's just
Yeah.
Yeah.
something that I told myself, I'm not even gonna try. I'm not even
Mm.
gonna, not even like a small like dose or whatever, or like not even like just a bit of this. Um, because of that experience, because I saw people like, when they indulge, they're happy and everything, but then you can kind of tell like they're still also looking for something. And
Mm.
for me, I was also looking for something. So we were on the same boat. It's just that, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
to me, I felt like I had something to look forward to. I had a promise that I had to be faithful to. I felt like God was always just reminding me that there was something better, but I had to wait for it.
That's
You know?
true. That's true.
And it's hard. It's really hard
It
sometimes.
is.
Where God, because like sometimes something's right in front of you, whether it's an opportunity or whatever. But sometimes God tells you, no, that's not what I have for you, and you're just like, but when,
But
you know,
when? When, God?
when,
Yeah.
When?
like, can you just tell me when, God? And then He doesn't answer, and I'm like,
Doesn't
okay, fine.
answer.
Yeah, it's like, but it teaches you patience, and for me,
Yeah,
that was
it
something I really
does.
had to hold on to. Also integrity for sure. I
Oh
had to
yeah.
like,
Mm.
to me, that's like the most important thing. Who I am in private and who I am in public, and no matter who I'm with, I should be not necessarily like the same exact personality, right? You're different with your parents and your best friends, but
Yeah.
you never waver from your conviction. And that's something
Yeah.
that I
Mm.
had to hold on to. The integrity. Because in my head, I'm like, if I mess up, someone will find out about it. I can't keep secrets. That's just my thing. I don't believe something to be a secret forever.
Yeah,
So to
that's
me,
true.
if I'm not ready to, you know, if I don't want people to know about this, or if I don't want, you know what I mean, to have damage done for me because of something like this, I'd rather just not do it. And some people might say it's KJ or whatever, but to me, I'm just like, it's better for my life, I think.
It's hard din talaga to know what God wants for you.
And like you're never really,
Yeah.
really gonna know.
You're
That's
never
the
gonna
thing.
know.
Like
That's the thing.
Mm.
that's why we need faith. Because if
Yeah.
we knew what God wanted for us, we wouldn't need faith.
I just realized that's true. And if He did reveal everything now, then what's the purpose of faith?
And honestly, if you knew everything now, that wouldn't be any fun.
That's true.
Like
That's true.
it's not fun. Like God tells you, oh, you're gonna be doing this, you're gonna be
Ikaw
doing
pala
this
yung
with this
KJ,
person, with
no?
this person. It's kind of just like okay, sure, but um,
Yeah.
it's the journey, the mystery that we find things, and we really get
Yeah.
to know who God is along the way. So that's
Yeah.
that's the fun in it.
So closing off the episode, yay, Kuya Trey, boom, bars, shares his advice to teenage Trey and the audience, as well as what he held on to growing up. All of those questions leads to one last question. So
Yeah.
if you can turn back to 13 to 16-year-old Trey and meet him personally, what is
Yeah.
something you would change, or what new advice would you give him?
I would tell him, and I'm just being more honest. I'll tell him to
Yeah.
release whatever he wrote.
Yeah.
And that's practical
Mm.
advice. I could like there's so many things I could say. I could say like don't care what people think so much. And that's true
Mm.
also. But I would because that's what I regret. Well, I super regret, but like I wish that I did. Like, I wish that
Yeah.
I was more open and bold with what I wrote at the time. And I
Mm.
actually have this one story where I did write something, and it was for the girl at the time that I really, really liked.
Mm.
So I wrote about it, and I thought it was nice. I showed a friend, and then the friend was like, "Bro, this is so nice. Can I share this?" And I'm like, "No." and then, and then and then he goes like, "No, it's nice. Blah 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 blah. Like if you want, like don't put your
Mm.
name on it. Just put it on the website." And that's what I did, right? So because I had like
Mm.
a dump website, like a WordPress site,
Yeah.
and then I removed my name everywhere on that site, and I just left that one article.
Mm.
My friend who released that, like who shared that article, after a few hours, it went viral.
Oh wow.
Wow.
So
Did you get credit though?
okay, so yeah, in a few hours, I saw like it had like if I'm not mistaken, like 1,000 shares on Facebook.
Yeah.
Like
Wow.
really, like people were sharing it, talking about it. And then I was just like, "Oh, my name's not on there. I wish it was on there." And then I think it was like 2 or 3 days after I posted on my own account. I was just saying like, "It's so great to see the reaction and your comments and everything about the thing that I wrote." Uh, I wasn't planning on releasing it because if I did, like the girl at the time would read it and know it was, like it was all a bit weird. Like I don't want to do that.
Mm.
But at the same time, I saw how it affected people, so I was just like, all right, I'll tell people it's me.
All right. So that's it for the episode. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Kuya Trey's company.
I enjoyed it a lot.
I enjoyed it a lot. I love coming on podcasts. This is so much fun for me.
But yeah, it's been all about getting to know Kuya Trey and what he likes and what he was like in the past. And also we got advices, which is cool.
So, if you want to see more content by us, follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Farside Podcast. And we are on
Oh, we're also in
Listen to Us.
we're also on Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube mainly, but we're in various more podcasting platforms. Just search Farside Podcast and we'll be there. So, Kuya Trey, can you do the honors of plugging your stuff?
No.
Oh
Okay,
no!
No,
You asked.
yeah, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter. That's at Trey Remulla. And you can check the White Stripe podcast on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. And for the YouTube and Facebook, go check out Sand Studios. So that's the studio production site where I do all my podcasts. So you can go check out that one. And if you want to know more about me, feel free to send a DM. Feel free to check out the episodes.
Sure.
And I'm really, really excited to get to know some of your friends. So also, I have this new segment called Uncensored. So if you feel like you want to ask me a question,
The
and I will
best.
say it on the podcast, you can ask me personally a question through my bio. So if you go to my bio on Instagram, there's a link. You press the link, and it's gonna say Uncensored. Ask a question or tell a story. Go ahead. It's a Google Doc. Just go type it in, completely anonymous, and I will be answering it if I like the question. So just try it out. You have nothing to lose.
So, any last words from Kuya Trey?
If you are under 20, your life is so early. Have fun.
Eh.
Figure out things along the way. Don't stop learning. If you want to learn like some, because okay, and honestly, just try it out. My podcast, I started out in my 20s. You never know what you're really gonna do. So just have fun with it. Feel free, be open to change, be open to new experiences, and listen to the White Stripe podcast.
Okay, so that's it for this episode. We will see you
guys
guys on
on
the
the
Far side of the moon.
Bye.
Peace out.